So these are the things which are just outside. You can say these are the things which are outside the CPU, but on the same chip. And this is also outside on the same chip. So this is the common 8-bit data bus. Okay, so this data bus is connected there. So apart from that, there is an instruction bus. So this is the instruction bus which is connected internally. This is the instruction bus which is connected internally, instruction register and instruction decoding. So this is the flash memory. So this is instruction, which instruction path. So there is a data path and there is an instruction path inside. So this is inside the CPU. Inside the CPU means this is inside the CPU. On total microcontroller, looks like this. Okay, so you can refer to the other figure which is here. This is the total architecture of the whole chip, which you guys, this is the chip. This you can refer to figure 2.1 if you like. So this is the total architecture of the microcontroller, figure 2.1. So out of them, so you can see this is the CPU and these are the things which are outside. Okay, so remember each of the units other than the memory is tightly coupled. So memory is tightly coupled. The memory, so there is something called tight coupling. So that is fast data transfer. But most of the I/O devices or I/O channels, these are I/O channels like interrupt, SPI, serial port interface. SPI stands for serial port, analog comparator, I/O modules, etc. So they are coupled with handshaking mode of data transfer. That means, and memory is, so these are the things which are faster channels. These are the faster channels. EEPROM, data RAM, these are faster channels. They are tightly coupled. You can see everything is tightly coupled with the registers. So, so the data transfer modes, other than inside of the CPU, you can see. So here everything is tightly coupled along with flash and SRAM. So this is the unit which are having almost similar logic levels. So logic levels inside the CPU, internal logic, maybe the voltage it may not be TTL. It may be something else like GTL. You can figure out what is the logic level where the voltage swing is not 0 to 5 volt. It may be plus 3 volts and plus 1 volt. This may be the voltage level. This may be for 0. This may be for 1. So voltage swing is reduced so that the power consumption is reduced. Okay. Voltage swing is external to it. Maybe the voltage level is TTL, external communication. So when the voltage swing is reduced, so it is internal to the microcontroller. That is this inside. If you look at this inside the data transfer, the voltage level may be reduced. It may not be TTL because they are very close. So you don't have to give plus 0 to 5 volt. It is not required. So the voltage levels inside the CPU is reduced, but the moment it comes out, it may be 0 to 5 volt. So what is the advantage of keeping the voltage logic voltage levels reduced? Puducherry sir, what is your answer? Puducherry sir. Puducherry sir, you are not audible. Please.
Yes, sir.
What is the advantage of keeping the voltage levels reduced? So write down everything, whatever I'm saying. It is not there in the manual, but actually you have to understand this. What is the advantage of keeping voltage levels reduced?
I did not understand right now, sir. I was still trying to understand.
What did I say about tight coupling?
It helps in fast data transfer.
So if you have a logic labels reduced Abrar Hussain, what is the advantage you get? Can you guess?
What, sir?
If you keep the logic.
The power consumption is less in that case.
Excellent. Thank you very much. So why Debraj Maji the power consumption will be less?
Sir, I don't know. I was listening, writing, so I could not. I missed that part.
You are sleeping actually. Not much. Kausik Mohta?
Sir, power is directly proportional to voltage. That's why.
Voltage square, not voltage.
Yes, sir, voltage square.
Why it is so?
Sir?
Why it is directly proportional to voltage square?
Sir, V square by R, sir. Power.
What is that R?
Sir, resistance.
The logic level कम होने से voltage power consumption क्यों कम होगा? What is the logic behind this? When the swing 0 to 1 is less, the power consumption is less. Why? What is the meaning? Suppose I keep the logic circuit. There is a logic circuit. Basically, it is a lot of MOSFETs. Okay, CMOS or whatever, HMOS or whatever. So if I keep everything at zero state, off state, will there be any power consumption?
No, sir.
It is quiescent power consumption. If it is one state also, the power consumption is less. Basically, it is a switch. Okay, this is the switch, and there are some capacitors, etc., or whatever. So whenever you RC, you can say. So this switch, this voltage is, so there is a resistance here. So whenever this is VCC, this is your ground. Okay. So whenever you switch on, there will be a lot of current which will flow here. When you switch off, so when you switch on, so this is your power consumption. V, this is the voltage across the switch, voltage, and the current through the switch, I. So if you put in the VI diagram, in the on state, voltage is almost zero, current is something. It is on state here. And off state, the voltage is high across it and it is off state. So the power consumption is very less because the current is very less in off state and the V off into I is very less. When it is on state, voltage is very less across it. So power consumption is less. But when you switch, because of the internal capacitors, the switching will follow something path like this. Something like this. When it is going from on to off and off to on, something like this. Okay, so this is on, off to on, this is on to off. So this switching power loss will be the total VI product. So therefore, during switching, power consumption increases. So when the voltage levels are small, the power consumption will be naturally less, V square less. What else can reduce the power consumption? Nuruddin Moij, Nuruddin.
Yes, sir.
What others can reduce the power consumption? Voltage level will reduce the power consumption. Anything else which will consume the energy consumption, basically heat. Nuruddin.
Sir, number of transistors.
That is true. Anything else? Power consumption is not only switching, but the number of times it is switching per
frequency.
time. That is clock frequency.
Clock frequency.
These are the two things which will have power consumption inside the processor. Okay. So remember this. All of you, please remember. This is not there perhaps in your in this, so you have to have these basics. Okay. Can you tell me, Kirti Basist? Kirti Basist, please tell me. So, what is the disadvantage of voltage swing which is less? Today I am talking about your data transfer. Low swing for logic. or 0 or 1. What is the disadvantage of low swing? Can you not have low swing for external things like, this external? That means we can have low swing here also, low voltage swings. These are the IO peripherals, other like analog comparator, the timer counter, etc. U-SHART, SPI. Kirti,
Yes, sir.
what do you think this low swing has a disadvantage? Anybody can raise your hand, you can answer. If there is a low swing in the logic level, what is the disadvantage? What is the possible? Because we can do that everywhere. So why we don't do it for external things? What do you think? You just say something. Don't be scared. Say something. Whatever is your money you want to say. If there is a low swing in the logic level, what is the problem?
High power consumption.
Low swing is not hyper. You are not listening to anything. Hardik, if there is a low swing in the power, in the voltage level for communicating 0 and 1, high swing means, let's say 0 to 0 is 0, 5 is 1. Suppose there is, I don't have maintained that logic level. So all of you guys have a homework. The homework is, Pooja, please create this homework. Homework, find out all types of logic levels.
Sir.
Logic levels.
Sir.
Hardik, I'll get back to you. Hardik, what do you think that there is a low swing has a disadvantage? Think about it and answer.
So it will lead to decrease in the channel length.
Yes, why? Why the channel length will reduce if there is a low swing 0 to 1? 0 to 1 is not 0 to 5 volt, but it is 2 to 3 volts. Earlier, the 0 to 1 was, let's say, this is 0, this is 1. So like this it was going. Okay. This is 0 and this is 5 volt. This is 0 and this is 1. So instead, I just have this. This is maybe 2 volt, this is 3 volts. This is for 0, this is for 1. So if I just change to it, so this will have less power consumption. Energy consumption will be less. This is energy consumption E, then here it will be less than E. So what is the disadvantage of this? So Hardik said it is a reduction of channel length. Correct. But why there is reduction in channel length? Channel length means the length of transmission. Length of transmission of the signal will be reduced. The reason is, when you transmit any signal, there are two things. One is noise, one is distortion due to channel. Remember. So whenever you have a less swing, if there is a noise, the 0 may be distorted to 1. Is that clear? So these are digital channels. These are all digital channels. So there are two effects. Okay, one is noise, one is the channel distortion. Abhijay Mitra, what did I say? What are the two things because of which you will have trouble?
So noise and channel distortion.
So what do you understand by channel distortion?
Sir, when the channel length increases, then the power consumption increases.
So that is channel distortion.
Yes.
Channel effects. So what is this channel noise?
Sir, like random values can enter, which can like affect our data.
Yes. Why the random value will increase? Suppose the signal is getting transported in this channel. This is the channel where you are sending this signal. Okay,
Yes,
this
sir.
is the channel. So this is the receiver and this is the receiver. This is the sender. There is a signal which is going. Okay. So
Yes,
why
sir.
there will be noise? So one is
Sir,
noise.
if the voltage levels are low, voltage swing is low,
That is true.
then
So if there is a signal which is going like this, why there is a noise
more
coming? What is the reason of noise? Guru Rajesh Kumar.
hello.
Guru, बताइए,
Yes, sir.
why there will be noise? गुरुजी आप स्पॉटलाइट में हो. I'm not able to see your video anyway. Why there will be noise when the signal gets transmitted from one to other? The noise because of, see, there are many signal channels here, not one. There will be several other signal channels nearby. So whenever there is a change in the signal level here, it will have coupling with it. Two types of coupling is there. One is capacitive coupling, because there will be fictitious or parasitic capacitance between them. One is inductive coupling, remember. So this is known as interference, noise because of interference. So because of interference in channels which are close by, because it's a digital circuit, there will be interference and this channel signal will be disrupted. That is number one source of noise. Anything else? Why can't you share, Guruji, why can't I see your Rajeshji, your video? Is there an issue? I don't know. Anyway, so that is one cause of noise. That is one cause of noise. I'm not able to erase this. I don't know why this nonsense is happening. Anyway, so there is one cause of noise is because of interference. What is the other cause of noise? Any idea?
No, sir.
Huh?
No, sir.
That is because of thermal noise. The electronics components, when it is heated up, there is lot of random phenomena which occurs because of the movement of electrons. When the energy levels are changed, you know, the charge carriers they get perturbed. And since the voltage level is small, that is electric field is small, these charge values might distort. They might not behave with the electric field because the thermal excitation may be much higher than the electric force which are applying. Therefore, they will behave randomly and that adds to the randomness. One is a thermal, one is interference. This is noise. So because of noise, this signal, whatever you are sending, actually by the time you receive it, it will become distorted like this. The distortion might also, the level might shift. So therefore, there will be distortion and the signal might get corrupted. And if the voltage level is, voltage swing is less, this swing is less. So this distortion probability of error will be more. Probability of error is known as PER. Remember, probability of error. This is a very standard term in digital transmission. So probability of error will be higher. Okay, so this is because of noise, because of coupling from other circuits and or interference. You can call it interference. Sometimes it is called EMI, electromagnetic interference. Sometimes, you know, it comes from the other circuit through inductive and capacitive coupling. This is a very difficult thing to handle. Okay, so now what is the other source? I said it is channel distortion. I don't know why it is coming. You are able to see everything, no? These distorted things. Okay, I don't know why it is coming. It should not come. I don't know. I don't know how to handle this. These are coming to all of you. These distorted things. And a previous things, these are visible. No, I don't know.
Yes, sir.
Anyway, so this is channel distortion. So let me talk about channel distortion. Distortion due to channel. So what is distortion due to channel? Just give me a second. Okay, you think about what is channel distortion? Anybody who can answer, please raise your hand. Okay, so what is channel distortion? Let me ask somebody. Class should be interactive, otherwise you will not have. Krishna Pasala, channel distortion क्या है? क्या बोला? तुम्हारा उधर sound क्या? Noise बहुत है।
Due to interference of channels.
नहीं वो ऐसा कुछ नहीं।
వెళ్తే బెటర్ ఇప్పటి నుంచి.
But this is channel. This is your signal. This is the transmitting end. This is the receiving end. Okay, why I am drawing two lines per channel, Pratyusha? Why I am doing two lines? One here, one here. What is the reason? For a channel, I am doing two lines. Pratyusha?
The one for transmission, one for reception.
तुम एक नंबर का इलेक्ट्रिकल इंजीनियर, तुमको मैं तुम्हारे इलेक्ट्रिकल इंजीनियर डिग्री में काटूंगा तुम्हारे जब फाइनल ईयर में आओ. You are making a joke about electrical engineering. If I transmit the signal, how many wires are needed? प्रत्युष, एक वोल्टेज हम यहाँ से आपके पास भेजना चाहते हैं. यहाँ पे एक वोल्टेज 230 वोल्ट आपको देना चाहते हैं. कितना वायर चाहिए?
2 wires.
2 वायर्स. एक तो पॉजिटिव एक नेगेटिव, एक कुछ चाहिए. 2 वायर नहीं होने से कैसे तुम भेजोगे वोल्टेज? एक वायर में भेज सकते हो.
So that's what I
So
said.
there has to be ground and there has to be
one for returning part.
there has to be ground and there has to be some terminal. Okay, so the source, the voltage source which you send, this is voltage source. So this has to be having two terminals. Okay, so this is called one ground will be there. So if you have several voltage sources, at least one ground and several other channels will be there. Remember. ठीक है. So signal transmission कम से कम एक ground और एक कुछ terminal चाहिए. ठीक है, ये basic है. So this is the channel and this is transmitting and this is receiving. So what do you mean by channel distortion due to channel? So if you model this channel, you'll find this is a high frequency signal. You know, I have told these digital signals are broadband signals. Lohit Bandebania. Lohit.
Yes, sir.
Why these digital signals are broadband signals? What do you mean by this? Why? Lohit Bandepania?
Sir, because transmission is easier.
Nah, you have not heard me actually. The problem is you have not heard me properly. That's the whole thing. So why this Kulkarni, Rajesh Kulkarni? Who can answer this question? Rajesh can answer.
Hello.
Answer karo, Rajesh Kulkarni. Pooja, when I am actually asking a question to somebody, please make him in the spotlight so that I can see him. Pooja.
So it can be that.
Why it is broadband?
Sir, it can be that it carries different type of signals or the bandwidth is
Who can answer? Please raise your hand. Thank you. Mainak and Amar Kumar. Mainak, can you answer this? There are a lot of people who can answer.
Because sometimes the digital signal will have low frequency and sometimes it will have very high frequency. So there is a range of bandwidth that
Even if low frequency digital signals are broadband signals. अरे बोलो, थोड़ा बुद्धि खर्चा करो. अमन.
Excuse me, sir.
अमन बता, अमन कुमार शर्मा. Aman Sharma.
The higher range of frequencies are called broadband signals.
What?
The higher range of frequencies in
so that's correct. But why a digital signal, whether it is low bit rate or high bit rate, is a broadband signal?
Sir, to make that a digital signal can be represented as a sequence of square waves. So in a square wave, there are frequencies of from
Excellent. That's the
0
right
to.
Because there are rapid changes. So these rapid changes, if you do the Fourier analysis, the bandwidth will be high. So that's why they are called broadband signals generally. Got the point? All of you? Did you get it?
Sir, can you explain that once again?
If you make the Fourier analysis, what is a band? Bandwidth means it is related to frequency. So if you take the Fourier transform of any square wave, it will not be contained in low frequency range. It has got very fast changes. So whenever there is a fast change, so it will have frequency components which are higher. Mahesh Paradkar, what did you understand by broadband? Can you answer? Mahesh Paradkar.
Yes, sir. Sir, like there is a large variation in the frequency, it is a large bandwidth.
Why?
Sir, because like it is a square wave, so if we do the Fourier analysis, there will be a large
correct.
bandwidth.
So correctly understood. So bandwidth refers to frequency. If I have a smooth signal, remember this, you can write down. It's a GAN for signal processing. It's a smooth signal. Smoothness means you can approximate by polynomial or anything. So you can easily approximate with low number of sinusoidal frequencies. Okay, so that's the bandwidth will be naturally less. But if it is a fast changing signal like this square wave, so the step change, there are a lot of step changes. Each step response is 1 by s. 1 by s is a very high bandwidth. You know, 1 by j omega, s will be replaced by j omega. If you take a magnitude, so it will be like, it will be a straight line in Bode plot. You know Bode plot? Anil Shinde, Bode plot jante ho to? Pradnya?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
हाँ, बोडे प्लॉट में स्टेप कैसा रहेगा? स्टेप कैसा आएगा बोडे प्लॉट में? स्टेप रेस्पॉन्स अगर 1 by s, how it will look like in Bode plot?
Sir, Bode plot is magnitude versus omega. Then
How it will look like?
sir, 1 by
अरे ठीक से बोलो यार, ऋत्विक तेजा कैसे देखेगा बोडे प्लॉट में? 1 by s?
Y-axis.
हाँ?
Vertical line.
वर्टिकल लाइन? माने इलेक्ट्रिकल इंजीनियरिंग क्यों पढ़ रहे हो? जबरदस्ती? इंटरेस्ट नहीं है तुम्हारा. Bode plot क्या है? Log magnitude plot. So if you make a log, it will be a straight line which is decreasing by magnitude. Okay, minus log omega, 10 log omega square ना, वो इस तरह का करते हैं. 1 by s को 10 log omega, log minus log omega, 1 by s है, ओमेगा आ जाएगा. ठीक है, Bode plot में उसका magnitude ऐसे रहेगा, नीचे नीचे जाएगा. So ये, but there are several step waves, so it is a broadband signal. Okay, so in the channel, so channel will be represented by what? So it's a signal after, so channel can be represented by inductance and capacitance combinations. There will be some resistance, but let's not consider it very negligible. So if this is the channel, so whenever you give a step waveform like this, the output will be totally like this. So this is the homework. You can simulate a channel like this. Simulate this in MATLAB. MATLAB और Simulink. Simulink में simulate करो इसको. ये output मुझे दिखाओ. ये homework. Homework number 2. Okay. एक homework है, find the different logic levels. So therefore, when it is distorted, and also they have got noise, therefore the probability of error is higher. So therefore, when you transmit to longer distances, even in millimeters or micrometers, so the logic level increases. In nanometers, logic level may be less, but in micrometers, the logic level will be more, so that the noise or probability of error is reduced. So I talk about, so any way to reduce this effect of channel, reduce the noise interference. So how to reduce the noise interference? So you use, so just telling you, so to reduce the noise interference, basically what people do is, instead of, they do something called differential transmission, differential. What is differential transmission? So this is the common ground. So all these signals, suppose you want to send a signal V1, you convert into differential. That means this will be converted into differential by using ground V1 plus and V1 minus. Similarly, you send a signal V2, so this will be converted into V2 plus and V2 minus. So that means the signal, one signal gets transmitted by two lines, plus three lines, minus and ground. So in the ground may be connected here in the source, but so it gets transmitted. So at the other end, so you basically take the difference between them. So this is your signal. So this is called differential transmission. Your USB link has one D plus and D minus and one 5 volt and one ground. Four signals will be there. You can check your USB signal. अभी देख सकते हो. एक D plus, data minus. That is the same signal having two channels. So this is called differential transmission. So what is the advantage of differential transmission? Payal Kumari, मुझे उसको थोड़ा spotlight में लाना है जिसका question मैं कर रहा हूँ क्योंकि मैं देख नहीं पा रहा.
Sir, actually, we cannot bring anyone spotlight. Only organizer you can bring into spotlight. I think that.
Can I not meet you an organizer?
I'm not sure, sir. I'll check that.
Check it. उसको देखो अगर चेक करके ऑर्गेनाइजर कर दो क्योंकि स्पॉटलाइट हाँ तो आ गया पायल कुमारी अग्रवाल स्पॉटलाइट में कौन लाया उसको?
Yes sir, now it is coming. Now this option is coming for me.
Yeah. So Payal Kumari,
It
so
was...
can you tell me what is the advantage of differential transmission?
Sir, so in differential transmission, we know that the voltage is at a plus level at a minus level. So, sir, any noise, if any noise is being interfered.
So, what is that noise which came out? So, there is something called CMRR. Do you remember CMRR?
Yes.
What is CMRR? Common mode rejection ratio. So,
yes, sir, common mode rejection ratio.
Most of the noise which will interfere equally to all these three lines. Okay, so this noise will be grounded because the ground has a lot of capacitance, because ground has a large body grounding will be there. And the difference will be, so most of the interference will come externally because of electromagnetic coupling or electrostatic coupling, whatever, capacitive coupling or inductive coupling, they will affect both the ones. So therefore, when you take a difference, so this common mode noise is rejected. Is that clear? Thank you very much. You can remove her from spotlight. So moving on, so you have got this two channels. One is so a logic level which is suitable inside the processor. There will be a logic level which is outside the processor. So then the data transfer types. So data transmission between two units inside the processor can be tight or it can be handshaking. So what is tight? Tight means so data transmission between two digital circuits, it can be done like this. You can just, one digital circuit 8-bit register, let's say this is register number R0 and this is register number R1. So what happens when the lines are connected through some gates, let's say some gates will be there. This is the gates. So whenever you enable this gate signal, this is a gate. Sometimes we call it tri-state gates. Tri-state means it will be high impedance generally, it will be disconnected. When you enable it, it will be connected. Tri-states means this will be 0, the value of this may be 0, 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 1, 1, etc. This will be equal to this, or this will not be equal to this because of this high impedance, tri-state gates. So whenever I enable it, this data gets transmitted. So that means only one control signal is required to transmit the data. So this is called very tightly coupled data transmission or very fast mode of data transmission. So just like memory to registers. So there is a memory, flash memory, let's say code memory. We call it code memory or code flash memory inside. So this memory is connected to the CPU registers, let's say CPU. CPU means it has got lots of registers. CPU is like this. So you can see these are the registers. This is your flash memory. So this is connected very tightly. That means the moment it is enabled, the addressing is enabled and reading is enabled, immediately it comes here. So this is very quick. So this is tight coupling. So the controlling is very less. But whenever the CPU wants to send data to outside modules, I/O modules, analog computer, even outside the chip, that means outside the chip, outside this, there may be some devices you want to connect outside. So what happens? This data transmission occurs to handshaking. So this is called handshaking mode of data transmission. Handshake. What is handshaking? The handshaking is, that means the first there is a request which goes from the CPU. Then there is a grant which comes back. That is yes. Then the data is transmitted. Data goes. Then there is acknowledgement. Acknowledgement. So what are the different steps of handshaking data transmission? The first step of the data transmission is what? First step of handshaking is, the first step of data transmission is, what is first step of addressing? So first step is step 1, address. That means the intender which want to read the data, write the data, sends an address. Then there is control. Control means it is called ready or not, ready signal. Then there is acknowledgement or ready signal comes back, that is grant. Ready or request you can write. So the addressing goes, then there is a request signal goes, then there is a grant signal comes, then data either gets written or read, depending upon your requirement, depending on the control. Then again there is acknowledgement. So there are many aspects. So handshaking means you are making sure the data is internet, for example. When the internet gets transmits data, there are number of levels of handshaking. मैं आपको बता रहा हूं, मैं अगर मैं जो बोल रहा हूं, आप थोड़ा आपका इथरनेट निकाल दीजिए, वाईफाई ऑफ करके फिर ऑन कर दीजिए, फिर से you will be able to listen to, because some data which is lost, it will be sent again because there is no acknowledgement. So it keeps on trying. So internet, even if it is slow, you still get the things. So because there is lot of acknowledgement handshaking there, the IP, the internet protocol makes sure that TCP/IP. Okay. So here sometimes the handshaking is reduced. That means this grant may not be there, acknowledgement is there. Whenever there is address, there is a ready signal comes in. Then it is read or write whatever you send. Then your data can be written. So you can reduce the steps. Acknowledgement may not be required. Sometimes we don't have this acknowledgement, we don't have this grant, just ready. So depending upon the application, the number of steps will change. So this is known as handshaking mode of data transfer. Can you, any one of you, can you give an example where you need handshaking mode of data transfer? Please raise your hands. One example you give, or let me ask. Shubham Karmakar.
Sir, one example is that when we input a password for the Wi-Fi, there handshaking occurs, and then only we are granted access to the Wi-Fi.
My concern with your present experiment which you are doing. Let's focus on the experiment. So can you tell me one where the handshaking you are doing unknowingly, but you are doing actually? अभी भी तुमने तो एक दो एक्सपेरिमेंट कर चुके हो. स्वर्णिम राज, स्वर्णिम का है?
Yes sir.
स्वामीम राज ना स्वर्णिम ओके. स्वर्णिम को थोड़ा स्पॉटलाइट में लाओ. पूजा, स्वर्णिम बताओ.
So actually I don't remember, related to our experiments that we have done.
You know, you remember it. You tell me what experiments you have done. You have to do. I have done ADC na already.
Yes sir, ADC, DSC, then square wave and spot wave generation. Sorry sir?
ADC, is it as fast as CPU?
No.
Why not?
Achha, yes sir, it is first enabled, then it checks whether ADC is done or not.
Exactly.
Like the conversion is done or not, and then.
So first you start the conversion, but wait for the conversion. Is it not? So this is like, you know, requesting, then it is giving back a signal which is ready, then you are reading it. Is it not?
Yes.
So micro steps of handshaking you can write for ADC. So can you tell me, Suresh, Shrutis Paramatta, Shrutis, उसको स्पॉटलाइट में लाओ. Shrutis.
Yes, sir.
Tell me one on handshaking example. Shrutis, क्या बोला मैं हैंडशेकिंग में क्या क्या स्टेप होती है?
First, addressing, then control ready signal, and then grant.
There are two entities here. One is the person who wants to make the data, initiate the data transfer. So
Yes,
that addressing comes from there. Okay.
Yes.
Then after that, who will send the request signal?
Request signal. I mean, who wants to read the data will send the request signal.
So that's the signal.
Yes, request signal. And data grant will be given, and then permission to read or write data.
Yes.
And then the acknowledgement.
Yes.
And then the acknowledgement.
Okay. So if it is a processor, then it is easy to generate an address. Okay. If there is a processor, so the CPU, okay, this is the CPU, and there is a IO device. Okay, this is IO device.
Yes, sir.
This is the CPU. So CPU will send the address, it will enable, then it will send the request, then it will get an acknowledgement, then send the data. So this is addressing, this is requesting, this is granting, then data, then again acknowledgement. So these are the 4 steps acknowledgement. But suppose the CPU is the intender to send the data. But suppose an IO device wants to send the data, how it will do? It doesn't have capability of addressing. IO device is connected to the CPU. It doesn't have capability of addressing. So it wants to send the data to the CPU when it is ready. How it will do? Bhepula Kushulu. Bhelpula.
Yes, sir.
VK.
Yes, sir.
So how the IO device will initiate the data transfer? It is CPU intents. But suppose the IO device wants to send the data. IO device. It's a sensor. Suppose it has acquired some value, it wants to send to the CPU and the memory system. This is CPU and there is a memory system. You want to send the data. So how it will send? So it has to request the CPU. So then acknowledgement has to go on. It will go. So there will be a dedicated line because it has no addressing capability. So this is request, then grant, then data transfer, then acknowledge. Can be these much steps. So since it doesn't have a capability of addressing, so how it will disturb the CPU? So this disturbance will come through what? You can tell me. You know it very well. That means I am there. I'm teaching. Somebody wants to really disturb me. So this will come through.
Yes,
what?
Sir. So I didn't get your question, sir.
Suppose there is a CPU. The IO device wants to transmit data.
Yes, sir.
So how it will disturb the CPU? Think about it. Vaibhav Vishal को थोड़ा spotlight में लाओ. Vaibhav Vishal.
Yes, sir. Through an interrupt.
Yes, interrupt. Excellent. So it is way of interrupts. So by interrupts, the CPU can really. There is an interrupt protocol. So there is a different type of fixed interrupt, vector interrupt, software interrupt. There are a lot of interrupts. By way of interrupts, so that the request can go to the CPU. CPU immediately changes the code path and it reads the data. Suppose the CPU reads the data and puts in the memory. So it comes like this. The channel is, it will come from the IO and it will go to the memory. Or it will come to the memory, go to the IO. If there are lots of data like a video from the hard disk is the IO, let's say, or flash disk is the hard disk. Let's say this is hard disk and this is the memory, RAM. So if you want to really read lots of data from IO to memory, RAM, and RAM to back, it will take lots of time. Right. So therefore, it can also establish a channel. That means after getting the request, so this CPU will connect the memory and IO device together. So this transfer is known as direct memory access, DMA. So it is known as direct memory access. That means if you have lots of data which will be transmitted from the IO device to the memory, you have to load many things in the memory. You cannot put inside the register. So this is direct memory access. So this DMA has to establish a channel, CPU has to establish, so there are many peripherals. So peripherals means the other IO devices, like which control IO device, like interrupt controller. Then there is DMA controller. Then serial to parallel and vice versa communicator. So it is otherwise known as serial communication interface. So what are the examples? Examples is there are different like SPI, serial port interface, like 2AR interface, TTII. Then there is this USB. Then there is this RS-232. These are serial, or it is always known as UART. In bracket you can say UART, universal receiver, or USART, universal synchronous asynchronous receiver transmitter, USART. These are very good names. Okay. Can you tell me other serial ports apart from USB and this? Somil Agrawal. Somil Agrawal को स्पॉटलाइट में लाओ.
Yes, sir.
मुझे हिंदी फिल्म विलियन जैसा लग रहा है. मैं नाम बोलूंगा तो पूजा स्पॉटलाइट करो, ठीक है? Somil Agrawal, tell me what are the other serial communication you know? SPI, TII, USB, RS-232. Anything else you know?
No, sir.
Remember?
No, sir.
IC to IC, I2C. Do you know I2C?
No, sir.
IC to IC. It is a Philips. So homework 3 is find out all the different standards of serial communication. Serial communication you understand now. When the digital one, there is a digital system 1, DS1, let's say microprocessor, whatever, and there is a digital system 2, DS2. So data has to go from here to here. This is the data. Either you can send the data by proper handshaking with parallel, or you can send one by one, serial. When you send it by serial, you can send it one after the other. This is parallel or serial communication. Why parallel communication is difficult? Somil, parallel communication क्यों difficult है?
Sir, I don't know.
अरे सब कुछ तो नहीं है पता है, बताओ क्या है parallel? Suppose I want to send 16 bits of data to your place. Where are you located? Let's say you are located in the department, I am in the house. Okay, I want to send 16 bit of data to your system. If I want to transmit in parallel, how many lines I need?
Four.
16 bit data means 16 signals. So how many lines I need?
16.
16 lines. Ground नहीं चाहिए?
17.
17. If it is differential transmission, how many lines?
Each one will get 2, 32, 33.
33. Excellent. So you are right. So you said you don't know. Why are you saying don't know? You want to don't know to think. You can say I don't want to think. Don't say don't know. Answer is I don't want to think. If your answer is don't know, then you are saying I am not asking whether correct or I want to think.
Okay, sir.
So now the question is it is a good idea to send 16 bits? मान लो आप दूसरे रूम में हो, मैं यहाँ पे हूँ, बीच में एक आधा wall है. I want to send you 8 apples. Should I send 8 apples at a time? I cannot, because you need 8 hands to catch it. So that means if I throw 8 apples, you need 8 hands. So that is difficult. You have to have 8 people there. So instead, I can throw one by one. Is it not? So that
Yes,
means
sir.
one after the other. Apple orange, that is 1 0 1 0. So I'll keep on sending, and you'll expect that I'm going to. So when I send one by one, what are the other signals you need? You are sitting on the other room with your friends. I'm trying to throw apple and orange from this side. So what are the other signals? If I send in parallel, so you are waiting all the time. I send everything together and you guys capture it. But suppose I want to do it serially. So I'll send one by one. So one thing you must know that how fast I am sending. That means you need a clock signal. Is it not? So the clock signal has to be also sent from this side. That means I'll beat a drum. I'll beat a drum, send a signal. Once I beat a drum, you're alert. First, I'll make a 2 bits so that I am ready to send. Then I'll keep on beating the drum. Then you catch it with the drum sound. So that is called synchronous transmission. I am sending a timing signal. Synchronous serial communication. Vikram, what is synchronous serial communication? Vikram.
In synchronous serial communication, sir, the receiver and the receiver is informed about the clock frequency.
So there is a clock which is sent. There is a clock which is required to be sent, right? Along with the data. So if you send a clock to long distance, a high frequency clock, Abhinav Joseph, if I send a clock, okay.
Yes.
What is the difficulty to send a clock? Abhinav Joseph. Abhinav Japes, sorry.
We will need another transmission line.
You need another transmission line, but high frequency clock sending to a long distance is also a difficult thing, right? If you send high frequency, the channel problem will be there. So what to do? You cannot send a clock. So you basically send without a clock. When you send the signal bits without a clock, it is asynchronous. That means you are not actually synchronizing two systems, but you can synchronize the clocks beforehand. Initially, you send some drum bits so that people are alert and they synchronize. They know at what rate I am going to send. So the baud rate, the rate at which I will send is known as baud rate. Okay. So this baud rate I will send and they will set their clock in that. And once I send some start bits, okay, initial signals, so the clocks will be synchronized. Then I will keep on sending apples and oranges, the people will receive it. And after some time, I'll put a stop bit. That means I don't want to send, so I'll put send instead of apple and orange, I'll send a pathar. That this is end, no more. Okay, that is called stop bit. I send 2 stones initially so that the people hit the people and they will be alert. Then apple orange. Then again a stone. So these are start bits and stop bits are known as overhead, serial communication overhead, which has to go. Then whether apple and orange is received correctly or not, how I would make sure. Suppose you have sent 5 apples and 3 oranges, 8 bits. Okay. So apple might change to orange. Why? Because of channel distortion, noise, etc. in between. Okay. Apple might change to orange or orange might change to apple. Okay. So in that case, how would you make sure? So that means you have to also put some error correcting codes along with the serial communication. Like parity 1 error correcting code. So that means you have sent 5 apples, 3 oranges, you can send a odd parity because 5 apples have been sent. If it is 4, then write even parity. So like that, you can have parity on zeros or ones. So these are overheads. So when you do serial communication, one is synchronous and asynchronous. So these are the serial. So there is one more very important serial communication is. Can you tell which is used in automotives? Anybody who can say?
CAN.
Excellent. So this is called CAN. So CAN, control area network, CAN bus. Okay. So this standard is very, very popular in automotive and aerospace applications. Okay. So this is the serial communication peripherals. So then you have got, what are the other peripherals? You see the thing and tell Arif Javed, you tell me what are the other peripherals. You just look at the diagram and tell me. Apart from serial and parallel communication. So parallel communication peripherals are not there. So what are the parallel communication peripherals? So what is the parallel communication? Parallel communication is ports. Then bus. These are ports. Ports means what? Airport. ठीक है. एयरपोर्ट में क्या होता है? प्लेन लैंड करता है, वेट करता है, आप अगर उठने के बाद फिर आप जाते हो. ठीक है. So ports are like that. Digital parallel ports are there. Port A, port B, port C. You saw there are different ports. Each port, when the CPU writes to the port register, it is available. So there are parallel communication ports. Okay. Similarly, you have got parallel bus. That means the data bus which can be connected anywhere. So data bus means as the CPU sends the signal, you have to trap it. Port means the CPU sends the signal, you have to store it. So there is bus architecture and port. So bus is much faster. So you can connect your memory. Batala Sai Rohit, how do you, for example, suppose there is a bus going from Kharagpur to Kolkata. ठीक है. Batala Rohit, कहाँ से हो तुम? From which part of the
Telangana, sir.
Telangana, the bus is excellent. Overnight bus are very good, right? Video coach, you know, it does overnight. So considering the bus, you want to take a bus to go from one place to other, get communicated. Okay. So what do you see that the bus port and bus? Port means bus stand. Okay, where you go and bus is there. So you just wait there, you know, bus is coming or bus waits for you like that. But when you take bus, BUS bus means address bus, data bus, you have to, bus is running, you run and hop into the bus. That means you should be fast enough. So therefore, the port has got a lot of control. It is for slower devices. The bus is for the faster devices. So this is parallel communication peripherals. They are called peripherals. Okay. So I am talking about peripherals. Peripherals means adjacent. So then there is, what are the other peripherals? Akshay Reddy, what are the other peripherals? Look at the picture and so. पिक्चर था ना माइक्रो कंट्रोलर पिक्चर, उसको देखो. और पेरिफेरल क्या है इधर? टाइमर काउंटर इज ए पेरिफेरल. टाइमर एंड काउंटर. Timer or counter are required to generate multiple levels of signals with multiple frequency signals. Not one frequency is not enough. One frequency for a digital system is not enough. Why, Akshay?
We can't transmit using only
एक एग्जांपल बता. तुम्हारा जो अभी काम किया है इसी में से एग्जांपल बता. अक्षय रेड्डी.
यस सर.
हाँ, एक जो अभी तुमने एक्सपेरिमेंट किया है उसी से एग्जांपल बता. Why one frequency, which is a clock frequency basically, there is a clock circuit. If you look at the hardware, there is a clock circuit. So why that clock circuit is not, that clock is not good enough for all peripherals? Why it is? Arnav, 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 बताओ.
Yes, sir.
हाँ, अरे अभी तुमने क्या है तो चिन्मयी. अर्नब अटेंटिव नहीं है. चिन्मयी. हाँ, तुम्हारा वीडियो नहीं देख पा रहा हूँ मैं. अच्छा ठीक है, कोई बात नहीं. बताओ. 1 लाख में अभी जो काम किया है, you see, you did it actually, you know, you have got this digital filter implementation you did. Looking at that, why do you think that one clock frequency is not enough for this whole controller, microcontroller system which is on the chip?
Different peripherals may transmit data at different rates.
So इसको बताओ, with respect to your ADC which you did, why you need a different clock generator for ADC?
It works
Lower than the microprocessor.
Yes, that is true. So why ADC needs a clock? एम्बेडेड सिस्टम तुमको आसान लगता है ना डिफिकल्ट लगता है? अभी अभी पता चला होगा सबको कि इलेक्ट्रिकल इंजीनियरिंग क्यों लिया. ठीक है, भेजा प्राइज प्रोफेसर सर. ओके, so I'm saying that ADC, the ADC which you use needs a clock because it is a successive approximation ADC. Remember, I told you ADC, make a homework. What are the different kind of ADCs? So when you have successive approximation, need counting. So the counting has to be done by a clock. So who will give the clock? Where from you get the clock? Similarly, when you do serial transmission, it needs a clock. All the serial communications, whether you transmit the clock or not, everybody needs a clock. And serial communication cannot be as fast as microcontroller. So therefore, different levels, different clocks. And sometimes you have to generate a PWM, pulse width modulated voltage. Why do you need PWM? So all these things has to be supported by programmable timers and counters. So timer is one of the very important peripheral. Remember this timer. Okay. So timer is one of the most important peripherals. Timer counter, you call it timer counter, you can call it. यहाँ पे नहीं लिख रहा है, ठीक है, timer. Which is called T-SASLI. और क्या peripheral है? So there can be special purpose peripherals. For example, there could be a peripheral which is, let's say, motor controller. There could be a peripheral which will be for JTAG interface. There could be peripheral for USB. तुम लोग अभी जो किया है उसमें peripheral external लगा है कि नहीं? तुम्हारा जो Arduino Uno board किट दिखाओ तो मुझे थोड़ा, पास में है? यथार्थ पास में है Uno board, दिखाओ थोड़ा, उसको स्पॉटलाइट में डालो, उसका कैमरा के पास लाओ, पूरा एकदम कैमरा के पास लाओ. यस, दिखाओ थोड़ा खाली, हाँ इसको दिखाओ थोड़ा, उसको स्पॉटलाइट करो पूजा. हितार्थ को दाबे, हितार्थ दाबे डी से शुरू होती. मैं कर लेता हूँ, ठीक है.
Is it visible?
हाँ देखा है, वो नहीं विजिबल नहीं हो रहा है, थोड़ा देर में लगेगा. ठीक है, उसमें दो चिप है. ठीक है, one chip is the microcontroller, the other chip which is towards the USB port is what? You think about it, because all these things, so that is a peripheral which is required for communicating with the your desktop. Basically a JTAG USB converter. Okay, so that's there. So तुम्हारा वीडियो कहीं देख रहा है, स्पॉटलाइट करने से वीडियो नहीं आ रहा है. ठीक है, कोई बात नहीं, छोड़ो उसको, स्पॉटलाइट छोड़ो. So that is a peripheral. So there could be many peripherals like that. Okay. So these are called special purpose peripherals. Okay. So then you can have memory, external memory also. If it is required. So PWM generators. PWM generators is also a part of counter. Or PWM, let me write clearly. It is a part of timer and counter. So what is this PWM standing for? Pulse width modulation. Why you need this PWM? Krishna Pasala. Why do you need PWM? Answer instant.
We can use low pass filter to generate analog signal with PWM.
Excellent answer. That means you can generate analog signals using low pass filter. Very nice. Well said. Divyanshu said, how do you achieve this analog signal from PWM? Different kind of analog signal.
Sir, we can set the the frequency of the PWM. So
So all of you make a homework. Audio amplifiers using PWM. Okay. Audio amplifiers. What is this audio amplifiers? I'll swear you with something. Assignment में दिया था last time. I'll show you that assignment. I think this assignment, Pooja, you have this assignment which I give on PES, audio amplifiers or something. Anyway, so you guys, PWM audio. ये देखो एक शेयर करता हूँ, लास्ट टाइम का असाइनमेंट है सौरभ साहू का, वो देख लो, ये असाइनमेंट है. Can you see this PDF, all of you? There is an assignment. Just I'm showing one of the assignment belonging to embedded system. Okay. So this is we want to build an embedded system which will eliminate the noise in AC for a song since we know harmonics. Anyway, इसमें एक AD 7723 है और एक है ये असाइनमेंट है. देखो असाइनमेंट का देखो कैसा असाइनमेंट है. This is the PWM amplifier. You can see this. We want to build an embedded system which will eliminate the noise of AC from a song. Since we know the harmonics present in AC will be eliminate the particular frequency using multiple notch filter. After that, signal needs to be amplified class D PWM amplifier. ये देखो, हाँ, इसमें से एनालॉग सिग्नल PWM होके जा रहा है, वो एम्पलीफाई हो रहा है. ठीक है. सो एम्पलीफायर में PWM लगता है. Is that clear? So this is also one, this is kind of assignment which is given to the students last time. So how they design. So this he has not designed very nicely. He has written a code, but the design is not very correct. पूरा हाँ ये दिखाया थोड़ा बहुत क्या दिखाया क्लास में बोली. Class D PWM amplifier ये है. देखो. Can you see this? Can you see the Class D PWM amplifier? How does it work? So that means this analog signal is generated here. So you can make a programmable and then the switching controller, then the output. So when you see the audio amplifiers, which you guys 1000 watts amplifier, you know, do you get 1000 watt sound? You don't get 1000 watt sound. You get much less. Okay. So can you see my screen now? Okay, so now let's get into the peripherals. So now in this class, in the last 1 hour, you have learned that this microcontroller is a digital programmable system which runs with clocks. It's a sequential machine, and it coexists with lots of peripherals. So peripherals for serial communication, parallel communication, direct memory access, interrupt controller, timers, okay, and special purpose like motor control, PWM, etc., etc. So there are lots of serial communication standards. So the whole embedded system or embedded controller design is based on the following. So the design is what? So design is, number one is the processor. Then the peripherals. Out of the peripherals, you have to worry mostly with communication first. How will communicate? Then other peripherals like DMA, interrupt, etc., etc. These are by default. Most of them come with the controller. That means when you have a microcontroller, all these default things come in. So when you buy the IP of the microcontroller, that means if suppose you have a microcontroller manufacturing company, you buy this IP, then you can burn your own special purpose peripheral on the same chip. Or you can make your PCB with the microcontroller and other peripherals. Like your Arduino Uno board has a microcontroller and other peripherals. So ideally, this is the thing which people do in embedded system design. They design a PCB with peripherals. So can you tell me how do you design PCBs? Do you know any software for PCB design? Anybody who knows?
Altium.
So there are lots of softwares which you can use for PCB design. I think you should pick up one. Okay.
Altium.
Anything else?
Eagle, Proteus.
Yes. So these PCBs, for example, here is the PCB I can show you. This is TI or I think it is our PCB. I don't know. Yeah, we have designed this PCB perhaps. So let me show you that. Okay. You can see. This is the PCB. You know, this PCB has a processor. Along with it, there is a radar. Okay. This radar, this is a multi-layer PCB. There is analog signal, lots of analog signal here. Radar signal is very, very small signal. It gets amplified, filtered, etc. Then it is fed to the ADC. Then you can see. So it is finding out the respiration rate and breath rate of a person. Okay. So this is the part of technology which you built on mBreath. We have a startup where we built this technology. All these PCBs we designed. You can see this is the PCB, our PCB, which is basically the radar PCB. And this is the TI processor board. So we can bring out the processor and burn it here. So finally, you have to make after making the prototype, the final thing is you have to make the PCB. So all the desired peripherals you can put there. Okay. So now let's get into each of them. So today is the coding test. So I'll be after 10 minutes. I'm going to give you the code, which code you are going to write. Okay. So the codes which we are going to write is based on subroutines, functions, etc. So you have to get yourself acquainted with it quickly. I can give you some examples though, but before that you should know manipulating all these peripherals. Okay. So the number one peripheral which comes to mind is memory. Okay. So you should know about the memory system. So start the page. I don't know. So what are the different components? So first comes memory, both internal as well as external memory. You can divide memory into 3 steps, different processor memory, then internal or the on-chip memory, or you can say on-chip memory. You can say it on-chip memory also. Sometimes it is called on-chip memory. Then external memory. So you can also classify the memory into like this: random access memory, then sequentially access memory. Okay. You can also classify memory into dynamic, static memory, SRAM, static memory, and DRAM, dynamic RAM. You can also classify as volatile memory, VRAM, non-volatile memory, like flash memory, which will not go. So these are different ways you can classify. So we'll talk about this on-chip memory is the kind of registers. In this particular microcontroller, we have 32 registers which can manipulate. So it is on-chip memory. And the external memory is like this static RAM, code RAM, that is flash RAM, etc. You can see here. Okay. So you can see this is external memory on chip, but they're on chip on the same flash, SRAM, etc. on chip memories. This is also EEPROM is an on chip memory. Okay. So these are basically on chip. So generally, so naturally, in the memory, so on chip memory will be much faster and it will consume less power. And processor memory will be naturally the fastest memory, which are registers. And on chip memory will be little slower, but it is still fast. And anything external to it is going to be slower. So the non-volatile memory you guys use all the time. Your this USB disk and the flash sticks which you use for camera, etc. They are non-volatile memories. Basically flash memories we call it. That means you can, once you burn, it is going to stay for some time. It will not be erased so easily. Nowadays people are talking about flash hard disk. I have a flash hard disk here, small hard disks which are much faster. In my Mac, this is my iMac, so I am using, this flash hard disk because it will be much faster. If it is a ordinary hard disk, I cannot load it. It will take time. Hard disk basically is a sequentially accessed memory, magnetic memory. Can you tell me which is the cheapest memory which you have in your mind? आशीष कुमार सिंह, बोलो एक बहुत सस्ता मेमोरी के बारे में बोलो. Per bit storage is very cheap. Can you tell me about one memory which is like that?
Memory cards.
मेमोरी कार्ड्स तो इतना सस्ते नहीं है. और क्या है बोलो? तुम्हारे पास कंप्यूटर, तुम्हारा फ्लैश डिस्क है या हार्ड डिस्क है तुम्हारा घर में, तुम्हारा कंप्यूटर में?
हार्ड डिस्क.
हार्ड डिस्क मतलब मैग्नेटिक डिस्क. अगर एक मैग्नेटिक एक्सटर्नल मैग्नेटिक डिस्क में खरीद करूंगा लाइक दिस, आई हैव हियर सम ऑफ देम. 1 टेराबाइट का डिस्क अगर खरीद करूंगा, ये देखो ये मेरा है. I am going to buy this hard disk. One terabyte ka, let's say I'll buy this kind of hard disk. What is the cost of hard disk? 1 terabyte or more? कैमरा में नहीं दिख रहा, मैं कैमरा दिखा रहा हूँ, सॉरी कैमरा में नहीं दिख रहा है. ये देखो ये वाला हार्ड डिस्क है. सो ये हार्ड डिस्क खरीद करूंगा तो कितना पैसा लगेगा?
4 to 5,000.
And if I buy a
You are muted.
So if I buy a flash disk of that size, how much will be the price? एक तो मिलेगा नहीं, मिलने से भी कॉस्टली होगा थोड़ा. So the cheapest memory is this magnetic memories. The cheapest memory is magnetic memories.
So CD
सीडी और है क्या तुम्हारा घर में है? मुझे पता नहीं सीडी वीडी और कहाँ पे नहीं मिल रहा है इसका.
No, but yeah, okay.
CD is cheaper, right? But CD first of all writing, reading, Blu-ray. अब उसके बाद Blu-ray आया. मेरे पास एक Blu-ray disc है. Blu-ray reader, Blu-ray player, 3D Blu-ray player. So nobody cares about them nowadays. Everybody talks about this flash discs, etc. You know. So I'll just give a flash of the demonstration. 4 minutes अभी है. ठीक है. I'll just show you how the memory things are. Can you see this? My slides, memory. Can you see this? क्या हो गया? एक मिनट. कहाँ गया? One minute. अच्छा इसको So you can see, so there are 3 things which are functionalities of the embedded system: processing, storage, and communication. Okay, for transmitting data. So the basics of memory you have been taught in digital systems, right? Can you see my slide or not? Can you see my slide?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So the storage permeance, based on the storage permeance and the access, etc. So you can have this. So the basic memory architecture can be described in a specification language like HDL, like a read-write line. There is an address and there is data. This is the very simple memory. Okay. So you have done this. So depending upon the address, it will choose. Then you enable it and do read-write. Then you get the data Q0 to Qn-1. It's an n-bit memory. So addressing, is done by way of this row column addressing, and m number of address bits means 2 to the power m locations, or 2 to the power k number of bits means 2 to the power k number of locations. So there are lots of memories like one-time programmable memory, OTP ROM, static RAM, dynamic RAM, then this flash memory. So there are 2 things here. One axis is the write ability. Read and write ability, one is storage. Read ability is apparently same for everything, but write ability varies. For example, the write ability for SRAM is very easy. You can write and read very easily. But for doing writing and reading in a OTP ROM is very difficult. It has to be done during manufacturing. But OTP ROM is apparently very cheap. SRAM is costlier. OTP ROM consumes less power. So there is a storage permeance. And the third dimension is power consumption, which is not shown here. So the memory is defined by 3 things. One is read-write bandwidth. The read is not an issue, but write is an issue. Sometimes you cannot write all the time. So you have to do special arrangement to do writing. So read-write ability, then storage permeance, how long it can hold your data. Then third dimension is power consumption. So how the fast it working, then storage permeance it is irrelevant nowadays because you have got good quality memories. So this is old slide, so I have to show this slide. So the third dimension is the power consumption of the memory. So depending upon this, we have got several memories. For example, you can have RAM. RAM is very fast writing, reading, SRAM for example. Then there is middle range, which is flash and EEPROM, where you can write, it will be there forever. Then lower range is OTP ROM. OTP ROM is during manufacturing, you burn it because it is cheaper. You just do it and then whenever the processor goes bad, it has to be thrown. Then there are other memories like magnetic memories, etc. Okay. So this is based on storage per month, so don't worry about such things. So this is the basic memory architecture of read-only memory. In the read-only memory, you don't have this write signal. The moment you give addressing, you get it back, get the data. So this ROM is basically wired. That means whenever you give an address, there is a mesh of wires which gets it connected to the supply or disconnected to it. So now I stop here. So this is the assignment which you do. Pooja, you convert it. Write a code to read a set of switches which are connected to port A and port B. Okay. So basically you are getting a 16-bit data. These switches are connected to higher or lower logic levels, either 0 volt or 5 volt. Generate okay, so even parity of the 16-bit generate FF in the port C. Odd parity generate 0 0. Auxiliary carry okay, do this. So you have 4 conditions. If the 16-bit is even parity, generate FF. If the 16-bit is odd parity means odd number of zeros or odd number of ones. Okay, generate 0 0. If it is even number of ones or even number of zeros, generate FF. Then if you add A and B, then if there is an auxiliary carry, generate F0 in the port C or 0F. Okay, so this one you do. Write the code. You don't have to write the initial subroutines, etc. Just write the code which will do this and explain everything. You can do it on your pen and paper. Don't type. Do it on pen and paper. Scan it and upload. Okay. Pooja.
Sir.
Create this
Yes,
assignment. Create this
so can you explain the auxiliary carry part?
That you see, I have already taught you. I will not explain. This is exam, so no explanation. तुम्हारा पास पढ़ा है मैदान auxiliary carry करो.
So that F0 and 0F has to be generated